Hello and welcome to Gardening with Ben's award-winning podcast, as voted by Grow Your Own magazine and by my followers and listeners. So if you're new to the podcast, make sure you click that subscribe button to stay up to date with all our podcasts, listen back to all our previous episodes, sit back, grab a brew and let's enjoy today's episode. Hello everyone and welcome back to Gardening with Ben. Well, it's Tuesday now and we are on our last day at work before we go back to the allotment on Wednesday and hopefully get lots of work done down there. And obviously when I'm back down at the plot I'll be able to talk about what I've been up to down there. So when I'm not at the plot we talk about different topics and different subjects about gardening and just share with you stuff that we know, what I've learned from over the years and what I enjoy doing down at the allotment. And yeah, I've also got another podcast if you've not listened to it already. It's called Gardening and Allotment Tips. The link is in the description of this podcast, so go and subscribe to that one and listen to that as well, because there's over 40 episodes on there for you to listen to, and each episode we talk about something different, a different topic to do with gardening and allotments, where I just share different tips and advice really. So yeah, it's not really about talking about what I get up to on the plot, but it's about sharing allotment and gardening tips, and quite a lot of people are enjoying that one, so make sure you head over to that one after you've listened to this one though, and click subscribe and listen to some of those episodes as well. Plenty to keep you going on these miserable winter days until the springtime comes. So today we're going to talk about gardening tools and allotment tools, because there's a lot of new people out there that are starting to garden, and it's hard to know what type of gardening tools you need to get really, and it can be quite expensive to buy gardening tools for the allotment and for the garden. It can be, and once you get addicted to buying gardening tools, then it can become expensive and very costly, probably more than you actually would spend on going to the supermarket and purchasing the vegetables yourself. But yeah, you can certainly get addicted to gardening tools. But if you're new to gardening and you've not got a big budget and you want to just get started in gardening, the best advice I can give is to go to somewhere like a charity shop, or a car boot sale. A car boot sale is absolutely fantastic for gardening tools, because when you go to these car boot sales and stuff like that, people are just like trying to empty all the stuff out that they don't actually need, and half of the times they've been in the shed and they've just emptied the shed and took it with them to the car boot sale, because sometimes these gardening tools, they can be like fads. It's like when a new cookery item comes out, like a new blender type thing or for everything, and you end up purchasing it and using it for months, and then you suddenly stop using it. Gardening tools sometimes can be like that if there's a new gardening tool what's come out. So more often than not, you'll be able to pick up some real good bargains at car boot sales and get them a lot cheaper than they would actually be if you were to purchase them from a garden centre. But there's so many good gardening tools out there. Obviously, if you're starting an allotment, the main gardening tools which you will need is obviously a fork for digging over the soil. A spade is not necessarily needed. You only need a spade if you're going to be using it for digging really. If you're going to be planting stuff, I don't use my spade much, hardly at all. Hardly ever use my spade, to be honest. The fork is what I use the most out of everything. Every time when I'm at the allotment I'll always use my fork. And the other two main ones are a hand trowel, which is like a small spade obviously but in your hand, and I use that obviously for planting bulbs, for planting seeds, planting plants and stuff like that. So, and you can pick them up pretty well cheap. Obviously the more you pay for them, the longer they will last, because some are cheap metal and they'll just snap after a bit. So you don't want, sometimes you need to pay that little bit extra to get good quality tools. But if you've got something just to last you a year or so, fantastic. And as long as you look after them and keep them rust free, they will last a long time. And obviously the better handles on them will help them last longer. And then a hand fork as well. I'm always with my hand fork because I use that mainly for doing all my weeding with. Fantastic tool, and you don't always need a big fork to get in between plants. Your little hand fork will just get in between them and dig all the stones out, dig all the little roots out what are growing, and you can pick them out pretty much easily enough. Best tool ever. And even a kitchen fork sometimes, if you're just wanting to do a little bit of weeding in between plants, a kitchen fork comes in fantastic down at the allotment. I've always got a kitchen fork down there. I would say don't tell my parents, but I live at live on my own now, so it doesn't really matter where I've got the kitchen fork from. But yeah, definitely wouldn't be without a kitchen fork. And obviously the garden hoe. The garden hoe is fantastic. If you were to go around all your beds once a week and just give them a hoe over, you will keep on top of the weeds totally. I always don't manage to do it, but I should do. If you just go around for 10 minutes, just go around every bed and hoe around it, that will keep on top of the weeds and you will be weed free all through summer. Trust me. There used to be a chap who retired on our allotment site, and his onion beds were absolutely pristine because he used to go down and just hoe them every day. They were literally fantastic. You wouldn't spot a single weed in his beds. It was something to really look at and inspire to him. So we've got that. And then, obviously, you can get your posher tools, which are ones like from Wolfgarten. And I've got a few tools myself from Wolfgarten. And the best thing about getting Wolfgarten tools is that once you've got a handle, you can, if people are wanting to give you stuff for birthdays or for Christmas or anniversaries, you can just ask for a different head to fit onto that handle each birthday and Christmas, and you'll never grow short of getting gardening tools for celebrations, because there's about 50 different garden heads to fit onto this pole what you use to attach it to the handle. Once you've got your handle, it's just a case of finding the different heads that you need. And the best thing about that is you can just take with you the heads to the allotment whenever you need them certain heads for the allotment, because you can leave your handle down there because nobody's going to pinch the handle. But if you were to leave the actual tools down there, people would pinch them, and you never want to leave your allotment tools on your allotment. Even if you've got a shed, a greenhouse, do not leave tools at the allotment because they will get pinched. Even if they're cheap, it encourages people to come down and pinch them. So don't leave anything valuable down there whatsoever. You don't want no opportunists. So yeah, and I've got this fantastic one, which is, it cost me £40 to buy this head fitted, but it's like a small cultivator and it's got a hoe on it as well, and you just grind it into the soil and it chops it all up and it pulls all the roots up and everything. It's fantastic. I've shared a video of it on my YouTube channel before, but yeah, it's one of the best tools that you can get. And Wolfgarten offer you about a 10-year guarantee on your tools, so if you have any that break, they'll replace them, so you can't get better than them. So if you're looking at garden tools, have a look around, let me know which one's your favourite garden tool. Send me a message. It's always good to see what other people think and what their favourite garden tools are. So yeah, send me a message and let's have a chat. So until the next episode, make sure you do click that subscribe button if you're a new listener, and you'll get notified when new podcasts come up. They get recorded on a regular basis, so you've always got something to listen to. Until next time, remember, keep smiling, keep gardening, and keep listening to Gardening with Ben's podcasts. So thank you for listening to today's episode of Gardening with Ben. We hope that you've enjoyed this episode. Remember to do click that subscribe button to stay up to date with all our podcasts. Feel free to share them on your Instagram stories so that it spreads the word about my podcast and we get lots more listeners. Feel free to check out my social media sites, Facebook and Instagram as well, Gardening with Ben, and also my YouTube channel, to stay up to date with all my handy videos, how-to videos, and sharing my tips and advice. And feel free to check the link as well in the description for my Gardening with Ben t-shirts. Lots of funny gardening design t-shirts in there for you to purchase at great prices too. So thanks again, and as always, remember, keep smiling and keep gardening.